Hey boys, it's HarmNone. So I just spent a couple hours working on the new businesses, trying to understand them a little bit so that I can make a business guide for you guys. Should be dropping maybe later today, if not tomorrow. But anyway guys, in this video, I wanted to talk about what cars to buy and what cars to avoid this week in Grand Theft Auto Online from the new DLC. Now, of course, we've got 6 new vehicles, which you can see surrounding me here. I have driven them all, I've customized them all, and those customizations and reviews are up on my channel, so if you want to know more about them, you can go and watch those. Of course, they're very recently posted, so you should be able to find them really easily. Now, I typically do a what to buy and what to avoid every single week. I'm going to be doing another one later in the week for the actual update week that's going on. But anyway, this is just about the cars from the new DLC. So starting off, we got the Karen Everon RS. This thing is a little bit disappointing. In my opinion, I think it is actually a pretty good vehicle. It is overpriced for sure, but you do get some pretty decent performance out of it. Oddly enough, it's in the SUVs category, which is quite strange. Now, it is based off of something called the Toyota Tacoma X-Runner, I do believe, which is not supposed to be an off-road truck, which I was mistaken about. I thought that it was supposed to be an off-roady sort of styled vehicle, but I've seen pictures of the real-life version, and it is quite low to the ground. It looks just like this. Not really sure what the purpose of that is, but this thing doesn't have a lot in the way of customization. There's like the bull bar that you can add onto the front of it, like right there. You can do some stuff with the hood. You can add the lights onto the top. They don't work, by the way. There's also an exhaust option for the vehicle, and there's some options for the bed, which act as spoiler options. So it's kind of lackluster. I feel like for the money that it costs, which is a lot of money, by the way, it is $1,665,000, which is crazy. It also claims that there's a missile lock-on jammer available for all of the new vehicles. However, I've got a ton of comments today saying that nobody seems to be able to actually go and put the missile lock-on jammer on any of these vehicles. So I think they are glitched right now. So if you're planning on buying any of these for the sake of the missile lock-on jammer, I would hold off on that for just a minute because we're not honestly sure what the hell is going on. But the Karen Everon RS, definitely not the worst vehicle from the DLC. I would say it is slightly disappointing. I wish that, like, if they were gonna go through the trouble of making this, could they not have given it to us with like raised suspension so that we could choose to lower it and make it this Tacoma X-Runner, or use it as like a full capability pickup truck like a regular Toyota Tacoma. I think that would have been great, but they elected to go for the sort of lowered look, which is interesting. I think it looks great. It drives pretty well, honestly. So, you know, if that's appealing to you for $1.7 million nearly, then I would say you may want to consider purchasing it. Keep in mind it is in the SUV category, which is quite odd, but overall, I'd say for most people, you probably are going to want to avoid this thing. It's just really not that awesome, in my opinion at least. Obviously, feel free to disagree and do whatever you want. That's my advice. Moving on, we have the Western Police Bike. This thing is, in my opinion, an absolute avoid. It is going for $3,720,000 to $4,960,000 on Warstock. Now, something that it does include is an exclusive clothing item, which is a police uniform. This is for a limited time, apparently, so it's not going to stick around forever. So if you do want that police outfit, you are probably going to have to buy this thing, which in my opinion is kind of crazy that Rockstar is making you buy a $5 million bike to get one singular outfit. I think that is kind of messed up. Now, I will say this bike did surprise me quite a lot when I actually drove it. It has a speed glitch, which is cool, so it goes way faster than it normally should. The customization for it was also pretty decent. A lot of the stuff that you can see on the bike, like the boxes, the saddlebags sort of, this piece right here as well, those lights, the equipment and everything like that, that's all upgradable. The front sort of fascia on the bike. That's also upgradable. This part is also changeable. These lights are also added onto the bike. So there's a lot of stuff you can actually do to the bike. Like I said, it's got a speed glitch. The performance is actually pretty surprisingly good. Does that make it worth $5 million though? No, it absolutely does not. I would advise most of you to not buy this thing. Unless you got like 100 mil, I would honestly not buy this bike. I just don't think it is like worth it. A lot of the police vehicles are actually, all of the police vehicles are super overpriced, and this is definitely one of them. So for that reason, I would advise against buying this thing. If you want a vehicle for dispatch work, there's probably better stuff you can get for cheaper, so I would advise you to do that. But the police bike, I mean, it's cool, but I don't think it's worth it. Unless, of course, again, feel free to disagree and do whatever you want. Next up, we got the Ubermacht Sentinel GTS based off of the new BMW G80 M3. Pretty controversial change for the M3 with this generation, but honestly I have to say it's grown on me quite a bit. I used to hate it and now I kind of like it a lot. I am a big fan of this car in game. I think that it's actually really good. Now it is a fairly expensive vehicle. You can see it's $1,629,000 if you have the trade price, and if you don't, it's about $2.1 million. Now if you can get it for the trade price, I think it's it's not a steal, but it's a good vehicle for the money. Again, it has that missile lock-on jammer available allegedly, except it actually doesn't because it's not working right now, but hopefully Rockstar fixes that because it should have the missile lock-on jammer, which is good. Customization-wise, absolutely awesome. Performance-wise, great. Awesome handling, awesome turn-in response, really good feeling car. You get a lot of like feedback driving this car. Like it feels really good. It's one of those rare cars in GTA where you drive it and it does exactly what you want it to do, like almost all the time. It is rear-wheel drive, which is maybe a little bit off-putting for some people. I would have liked to see an X-Drive or an all-wheel drive version of this car for sure, but I'm actually kind of thankful that it is rear-wheel drive because I think that it just kind of elevates the driving experience of the car. I think it's a fantastic vehicle. Customization's great. It's fun to drive. Looks really good. I mean, like it's crazy how good this thing actually looks and how realistic it is as well. So I do recommend picking up the Ubermacht Sentinel GTS. I think it is genuinely worth the money, especially if you can get it for the trade price. If not, then it's definitely less worth the money, but I would still say it's a cop when you have enough leftover money. I would say you definitely are going to want one of these. Next up, we got the Dubachi Rapid GTX. This thing, to me, it kind of feels cheap on Rockstar's part because the back end is literally just the Spectre, which we've had in the game since like 2018, I want to say. And there's really no changes there. The front end is even similar to the Spectre as well. I'd say there's not a very vast change. Like we almost have this exact car in the game already. This thing does have much better performance than the Spectre. It's probably the best performer Dubachi in the game, short of the Wagner. And maybe the Champion. The Champion might, hold a candle to this thing, but I'd still say handling-wise, this thing is better than the Champion, and just generally feeling-wise, I would say it is better than the Champion. But that does not mean it is worth $2,700,000, which is crazy to think about, because it's not better than a Gratiatale GTO that's sitting right here that costs $1,965,000. I don't think it's particularly better looking either, at least in my opinion. I mean, feel free to disagree, obviously, but I just don't think it's that awesome of a car. Customization wise, there was not a whole lot that you could do to it either. I think the mirrors are absolutely insanely oversized on it as well. That's a gripe that I do have with this car. I like it personally, but I just, that $2.7 million price tag, I just cannot get behind it, and I find it very hard to justify. You could get an Emirates for $45,000 more than this, and that is a lot more car than the Rapid GTX, to be honest. So I would say probably going to want to avoid this one for most of you. I just don't think the value's there for performance. Obviously, if you like the car, if you really love how it looks and everything like that, feel free to buy it. Obviously, do whatever you want. But my advice to you is if you're going after performance, and performance for the money, I would save yourself like close to $1 million and buy an Italia GTO, and I think that you'd be pretty pretty damn happy with the GTO, and you can make it look really classy and sleek just like this thing. This thing can also be made into more of an aggressive sort of racing styled car like my GTO that's sitting right beside it. But yeah, I would say this one is going to be an avoid for me, just simply based on the price. I don't think it is worth that much money. It's kind of crazy to me that they're asking for that much. Next up, we have the Annis Hardy, which is a car that I thought I was actually going to absolutely hate. It goes for $1,380,000, which is a bit steep, I will say, for sure. The viewers corrected me, and I thank you for it. It is based off of the Nissan Laurel C33, I do believe it is. And I think it's a great looking car. I think my customization has done it justice. Not to say that I'm like good at customizing or whatever, but I think that the car looks pretty clean. I'm very happy with how it turned out. This car is kind of interesting. It's almost like it has drift tuning without having drift tuning, which is odd. It's just a naturally drifty sort of car in GTA, which is cool, and I appreciate about it a lot. It was a very unique driving experience, definitely the most unique car that I drove today with the new update and the new cars from the new update. Is it worth it? You know, $1.4 million for everybody? No, it is not. I would say if you're not even remotely interested in drifting, or if you're not interested in like cars that look like this, JDM sort of stuff, I would say just avoid it completely. However, if you are interested in any of that, I would say this thing is an interesting vehicle. If you can drive one for free or borrow a friend's or something like that to test it out before purchasing one for yourself, I would recommend you to do that. But I do think it is honestly a very, very good car if that's what you're looking for. If you're looking for just regular straight line performance or like, you know, track performance or anything like that, I don't think this thing is going to be for you. I'd say look elsewhere for sure. But it is still a pretty decent car. I think it's fun. I like it a lot. I would recommend it if you're interested, like I said, in JDM sort of style cars. Cars that look like this, cars that are sort of drift inclined and things like that. And last but not least for today, the Karen Woodlander. This is the HSW vehicle that we got. Not the Rapid GTX, not the Ubermacht Sentinel GTS, not the Karen Everon RS, but no, the Karen Woodlander is the HSW vehicle that we got today, which is quite odd. Customization wise, there was quite a bit that you could do to it. However, some things were pretty lacking. I felt like there should have been more options for the vehicle. With HSW, it does move. It really does move. It is quite quick. I'd be very curious to know what the top speed is on it and just how it's going to stack up versus other SUV category vehicles. It does sound pretty good. Like I said, customization wise, there's a bit you can do. Some of it is like pretty questionable stuff, but some of it is kind of tasteful as well. The HSW upgrade is $900,000 on top of the original price of this thing, which is $1,611,000. So $2.5 million just for the car and the initial HSW upgrade. That's not counting HSW brakes, suspension, engine tune, transmission tune, or the stage 3 turbo or anything like that. So probably all in, you're looking at like a $3 million car. I personally don't think you're getting $3 million worth of performance out of this thing. I would spend the additional like 600, 700, 800K and just get a Banshee GTS with HSW, because it would smoke this thing any day of the week, any challenge. I think the GTS would win, other than maybe off-roading. Even still though, the GTS is just so much better. I don't really think this thing is worth the money that they're charging for it. I would avoid it personally, but if you're into, you know, Subaru Foresters and things like that, you may want to consider purchasing it. It is a cool car, I won't deny that. It's just not really my cup of tea necessarily, and I just don't think that you're getting the value back with this vehicle, unfortunately. So for that reason, I don't really recommend it to most of you. However, like I said, if you love Subaru Foresters or you want something like this, then it is there for you. But that is going to do it for what cars to buy and what cars to avoid in GTA Online with the new update. Now apparently we're getting 6 more cars next week, which is crazy to think about already, and they're going to give us some more info about the next DLC. So we're getting another DLC, which is really cool. So anyway, I'll probably make a video and talk about that a little bit later. I am very tired. I've been up for a long time. I've actually been up for like 24 hours when I'm recording this. So I'm probably going to put this video out, and then I'm probably going to go to bed, and then I will get up again and do a business guide and things like that. So stay tuned for that, guys. Thank you for all the support today. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Dislike if you didn't. Consider subscribing if you're new. I'll see you guys in the next one. Till then, take care. Peace.